Hi there, I'm Claudia Lash, and today I'm doing some foundation paper piecing, and I thought it might be helpful if I show you on this pattern how easy it is to do foundation paper piecing with freezer paper. It's my preferred method. Here's the block that we are making. It's the bottom of this, basically. And this is pretty easy to make. If you look at it, let me turn this camera down a little bit. You can see there's a stem in the middle, and there's a piece over here and a section over here. So there's 3 sections to make the block. The stem is not a problem, but making this section and this section only has 4 parts, but it takes a minute to make them. And if you tried to make them with a rectangle and trying to cut a certain angle, that can get a little bit tricky. But using foundation paper piecing is pretty easy. So let me show you what I am doing. The first thing I do when I'm doing foundation paper piecing is I have my papers already copied, and the writing is on them, right and left. And now these are going to go on the back of my fabric. So right now, left is, well, when I lay it down, it's going to be on the right side, because the shiny part of the freezer paper is going to be what the fabric is onto. And you only need a dark green, the dimensions are in the pattern, the light green, and then background. The background, my background, I cut a rectangle in half, so I have, this is the two top sections, and notice how they are reversed, and 2 lower sections. So in order, and this may be the, I don't know, this may be the lower section. We'll see when we lay it down, because we lay them down. I'm first of all going to do, before I start any sewing, I take my pattern that I have marked, and I make my pattern with my sewing machine. So I can see, you may not be able to see, there are lines here that the sewing machine has poked for me. So this is piece 1, 2, 3, and 4. And before I start doing any work on it, I take a ruler or a thin piece of cardboard, and let me pull this up closer. I hope a little closer, and maybe even closer. And I take this ruler or something, and I get my paper folded, and then I fold on the next line. It helps if you have your pattern, your freezer paper, folded a little bit. All right, and then we're ready to start. So I'm going to start with this side, because I don't know, it's side B, but I'm going to, that's every piece after that is right side. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to lay this right here, and I will take this to the ironing board and press this down, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I have the right side the wrong side is facing the paper now. And I am going to fold back, I have a cardboard. This is my first line, so I'm going to put this cardboard piece on the first line, and I'm going to fold the freezer paper over, and notice, maybe since it's white against white, it might be hard to see. Oh, and I have very little down here, but we're gonna live with it for this right now. You should have about 1/4 of an inch all the way back. But I have about 1/8 of an inch, and I don't want to have to align everything. Then the next piece that goes on is a light green, and this is a batik, but I don't know if I can tell either side being the right side, but the right side should be facing up. So we're going to say this is the right side, and I am facing it up, and I am going to just make sure that it will be covered there. And here is where the line is for when I fold this back over. So I just need to make sure that this much is covered. Notice I'm pulling it back a little from the 1/4 inch. I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew right along next to the freezer paper, but not on the freezer paper. And I will show you that when I get done. Okay, I'm back. Now then, this is what it should look like up here at the top. This is a nice 1/4 inch. This is a 1/4 inch, but see how close I am on the next to the seam line with that white piece? You probably shouldn't do that, but I can do that. I know it will work. So I'm going to fold this over, and then I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to fold the green over this way, and I am going to press with my fingers first, and then I'm going to take it to the ironing board and press it again. First I press it on this side, on the fabric side, and then I will flip it over and press it on the paper side. Okay, I'm back. And I did forget to tell you one thing. When I do my stitching, I use I think my machine is set at 2.15. It could be 2.0. It can be even probably a little higher number, but I try to keep it reasonable. If you have to take it out, 2.0 isn't too bad to take out. And but if you're doing through paper and stuff, then you have to really watch and make your stitch really short. Now I put my cardboard right on the dotted line. That's my stitching line. And then I pull this over, and I have quite a bit there. Now this time I'm going to do a better job of doing my 1/4 inch seam. So I'm going to take this 1/4 inch, add a 1/4 ruler, and I push it up right next to the paper, and this is extra. I'm throwing that away. My next piece is a darker green, and I lay it down. Again, it's kind of hard to show you because this is a batik, but you always lay it so your oncoming fabric is face up, because then you're putting it next to the fabric that's right side down. So you want those to be right sides to right sides. For this one, I usually look at my paper, and I don't know if how well you can see, but this is the dotted line. It comes down here and it goes over to the bottom. So I need to have enough of the green to make sure that I can cover down to this point. And I also am going to try to put a 1/4 inch at the top. This is probably way too much because it's only going to come up to here, but I'm going to stick it under the sewing machine and stitch that seam. Now I've sewn that seam, and then I'm pressing the paper over, and I use my finger to just press this down. I'm going to take it to the ironing board and press this side, and then press the back side and trim one more time. Now I've sewn that seam, and then I'm pressing the paper over. and I use my finger to just press this down. I'm going to take it to the ironing board and press this side and then press the back side and trim one more time. Okay, I'm ready for the next trim. Before I do, I was going to show you, you can use this size of a out of quarter ruler. This is what I've had almost all of my quilting time, but the other day I was at the quilt shop. These seams are a little longer, and I thought, well, you know, go ahead, get a bigger one. So, but the smaller one works just fine. So I've sewn this seam. I'm going to put my cardboard down, pull back, lay out the green there, and now I'm going to use my out of quarter ruler to trim. And I'm going to be putting on one more background now, but I can tell that these are way out there. I don't need all that. So a lot of times I will just go, I still got some extra there. Okay, so now I need the bottom or the lower part of this piece. And let me see if I can find where that guy is. I'm only seeing, oh, maybe this is it. Yes, I think it is. So, well, nope, not that one. It's this one. Okay, so I'm going to, what I do is I lay out so that I'm looking at the front of the piece, which I can tell a little bit on here. That's the front. And then I look at where it's going to go. It has to cover this triangle right here. I can see I've got enough down here, I've got enough up there. So now I line it up at the 1/4 inch line, making sure I still have enough there. I've got plenty down here. And I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and just stitch right down there. Okay, it's stitched down to there. I'm going to flip my paper over, flip the fabric over, and again, I usually do this with my fingernail or with I'm going to take it to the ironing board. I'm going to press on this side, I'm going to press on this side, and I'm going to make sure that all of the the end edges are covered. Now, you might be able to see I have a 1/4 inch seam around this whole thing. So I've got plenty that I can trim off in just a second. Here is my finished back of the piece. I already trimmed it, and what I do is, I don't know if you can see those dotted lines right there. I just lay my ruler on top of that so that I have the farthest out dotted line, and that's on my pattern, so I can just go around and trim all the excess off of the edge. So this is the piece that's ready to be sewn. It's